I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said to me, dude, how do you get like so many years of sobriety? How do you go from being 150 pounds to today where you've got this great relationship with God and you've got this incredible relationship with your wife and incredible kids and you're absolutely blessed? And I look at that and I really look at back to that period of time when this first happened, when I was in desperate straits. And if you're watching this right now, you get that desperation sometimes happens, right? That you and I, if we're in such pain, we're going to do anything to get out of that pain. Would you agree with that? And what happened with me in that period of time is that I had actually 6 months earlier requested information about how to go into a rehab. And then 6 months after that, when I was caught using drugs in the bathroom of my workplace, calling in sick on the Thursday, and then coming in on a Friday and having my boss tell me I was out, that was the, thank God, now I can go take some time off and go get help. And it was just, there was no doubt in my mind that I was so ready. That, how's the saying go? When the teacher's ready, the student will, I think it's the other way around. When the student's ready, the teacher will appear. I was so ready, my teacher showed up. And I didn't know who my teacher was at that point. And yet I knew I was desperate and I needed help. I weighed 150 pounds. So at that point I went home and I right away called the lady at the rehab center and I got in. And that was the start of not doing anything the same as I did previously. I didn't have to change anything. I had to change everything. Meaning that when I was in rehab, I was told that I ate too fast and I talked too fast. Well, I still do both, but I was conscious of slowing it down. When I was in rehab, I had somebody tell me, you'll never make it. And I asked him, why do you say that? He said, because you didn't have a high enough bottom. Because of the fact that you didn't have a low enough bottom, You've still got a car and a house and a wife. And I remember thinking, I'm not going to let this, that's not true. I'm going to prove to myself and everyone else around me that that's not true, that this is enough. I'm done. I'm finished. And I think that's it for you and I. We have to make a decision that we're done with this. There's no more. We're not going to do this anymore, right? And when you think about it, that was what it was for me. It was not a slow drip, actually. Maybe it was a 30-day drip. But within that rehab, I just knew how I was living my life was not how I was going to continue living my life. I had been raised in favor, frankly. Anything I wanted, I had. And I had not taken the gifts that I know now God has given me and utilized them. And in this moment, I said, if there's just one thing that I'm going to do with the rest of my life, it's that I'm going to not live in the bondage and pain that I'm living with in this. So I made that decision. I didn't even know what that decision was. I certainly didn't know it was 35 years. But I did know that if they told me to do something, I was going to do exactly what they told me to do it. Today, 35 years later, sitting outside in the front yard, in the front patio, I heard God tell me, do this. And I remember writing down, what if I completely listen to what God says to do currently in this society, in this energy that we live in today, and do exactly what God says? Just like 35 years ago, I did exactly what God said. So I think that's it for you and I today. What's God trying to tell us? Where is he trying to touch our heart? When I was in rehab, he was telling me one day at a time to just change everything. Don't go back to the same friends. Don't go to the same bars. Don't do anything they used to do before. Nothing. Change everything. And I heard that. And from that led me to that first step. And that first step was, I admitted. Admit. I mean, think about it. Whenever you and I take 100% responsibility for our stuff, when we say, that's on me, that's my role, I get it. When you and I say that, when we admit in this case that I was powerless, had no power at all, absolutely none, over, in this case, drugs and alcohol, and that my life had become unmanageable, 150 pounds, daily habit. I had no selfish, narcissistic, terrible person. I admit it. In the moment when I looked in the mirror and said, I admit, it started the flow of the shift and transformation happening. So if you're in this place, man, what a great place to be. It's okay. Yesterday, the pain doesn't have to be today. Your story of you being a drug addict does not have to be the story that you have today. Your story of having victory can be the story that you have today going forward. Because the reality is, I love Jesus. Jesus loves me. He tells me that every day. And we were not designed to be losers. We were designed to be victorious. But we have to do certain things. And one of those things is we have to take 100% responsibility and admit it. Admit we're powerless over drugs and alcohol. Admit that our life had become unmanageable. Step one. God bless. Hope this helps.